You've probably seen the headlines, or maybe a strange, stylized tree logo floating around online, and you're wondering, what on earth is Google Willow? Some people are calling it a breakthrough that will change the world, while others are whispering about forbidden knowledge and even comparing it to a religious monument. So, is this a piece of godlike technology, or just some really clever marketing? Let's break it down, because the truth is somewhere in the middle, and it's absolutely fascinating. First, what is Google Willow? Really, stripping away all the hype, Willow is Google's newest quantum computing chip, announced back in December 2024. Now, if you're not a physicist, quantum computing chip might sound like jargon, so let's make it simple. Think of a regular computer. It works with bits, which are like tiny light switches that can be either on or off, a 1 or a 0. It's very black and white. Quantum computers, on the other hand, use something called qubits. Imagine that light switch, but instead of just being on or off, it can be on, off, and both at the same time. It can even be a little bit of on and a lot of off. This weird both at once state is called superposition, and it allows quantum computers to explore millions of possibilities simultaneously. This is where the mind-blowing power comes from. Google claims that their Willow chip, which has 105 qubits, performed a specific calculation in just 5 minutes. That same calculation would take the world's fastest, most powerful supercomputer, the kind that fills entire buildings 10 septillion years to complete. Let me put that number into perspective. A septillion has 24 zeros. After it, the universe is only about 14 billion years old. So, Willow is doing things that are, for all practical purposes, impossible for our current technology. It's not just a little faster. It's operating on a completely different level of reality. But here's the real reason scientists are losing their minds over Willow. It's not just about the speed. The biggest problem with quantum computers has always been something called noise. Because qubits are so sensitive, the slightest vibration or temperature change can mess them up and cause errors, making the whole calculation useless. It's like trying to build a massive, intricate sandcastle while the tide is coming in. The bigger you build, the faster it falls apart. For decades, the holy grail of quantum physics has been finding a way to fix this, a system called quantum error correction, and that's exactly what Willow has achieved. It's the first chip that proves this error. Correction works at scale. As you add more qubits to Willow, it doesn't get noisier and more chaotic. It actually gets more accurate and stable. This is the breakthrough. It means we're no longer just building fragile prototypes. We're on the path to building a stable, large-scale, and truly useful quantum computer. This is the key that could unlock everything. So, with this incredible technology, why did Google choose a tree for its logo? And why name it Willow? This is where we move from the hard science to the powerful, intentional symbolism. Google's official explanation is pretty straightforward. They say they name their quantum chips after trees. Before Willow, they had chips named bristlecone and sycamore. They chose the willow tree specifically because its branches are famous for being flexible. They can bend and sway in extreme winds without ever breaking. They say is a metaphor for the chip's resilience, its ability to handle all that quantum noise and correct errors without crashing. It's a neat engineering metaphor, and it makes sense. But let's be real. Tech giants, especially ones like Google and Apple, don't choose their branding by accident. Every symbol is loaded with meaning. Think about the Apple logo. It's not just a fruit. It's a bitten apple, an unmistakable reference to the tree of knowledge from the Garden of Eden story. It subtly says, this device gives you access to information you couldn't get before. Google is playing the exact same game here. When you create a machine that has the potential to solve currently unsolvable problems, like designing new medicines, creating new materials, or even understanding the origins of the universe, and you brand it with a tree, you are deliberately tapping into that deep, ancient archetype of the tree of knowledge. You're creating an immediate, subconscious association between your technology and the source of ultimate wisdom. It's brilliant marketing, designed to make you feel like you're witnessing something profound, something almost mythical. And this is where things get really weird, and the religious comparisons start to make a lot more sense. Let's talk about parallel universes. This isn't just something from a science fiction movie. The head of Google's quantum AI lab, a man named Hartmut Nevin, has been very public about his interpretation of how quantum computing works. He has stated, and I quote, that quantum computing is exploiting the resources of other parallel universes. He believes that when a qubit isn't at both states at once superposition, it's actually branching off into a parallel reality. The computer is essentially running calculations across countless alternate universes simultaneously, and then bringing back the single correct answer into our reality. Now, pause for a second and think about the implications of that statement coming from the guy in charge. You have a company that has just built a machine capable of solving impossible problems. They've branded it with the symbol for the tree of knowledge. And their lead scientist is telling the world that it works by accessing other dimensions to gain this knowledge. When you put all of those pieces together, you are consciously and deliberately playing with Garden of Eden archetypes. You're retelling a story that sounds a lot like humans reaching for a power that was once thought to belong only to the gods. It's not an accident. It's a carefully crafted narrative. This naturally leads us to the big question. Is this a forbidden fruit moment for humanity? Are we, with Google Willow, biting from a tree that we shouldn't be? From a purely scientific, secular perspective, the answer is no. It's an incredibly advanced piece of technology, made of silicon and gold, cooled to temperatures colder than deep space, all designed to manipulate the strange laws of quantum mechanics. It's a tool, a very powerful one, but just a tool. There's nothing mystical about the hardware itself. It's just physics, albeit a very strange and counterintuitive branch of physics. However, from a symbolic and philosophical perspective, the answer is a resounding yes. Think about what the Tree of Knowledge in ancient stories actually represents. It represents the moment humanity gained a type of power, a type of understanding that was previously reserved for the divine. It was the point where we went from being passive inhabitants of the world to active shapers of our own destiny. Quantum computing is, in a very real sense, the forbidden fruit of mathematics and physics. For centuries, simulating nature at its most fundamental level, the dance of atoms and molecules, the very fabric of reality, was thought to be an impossible task for humanity. It was too complex, too vast. Richard Feynman, one of the fathers of quantum physics, famously sighed, "If you want to make a simulation of nature, you'd better make it quantum mechanical." And now, that's exactly what we're doing. Google isn't necessarily trying to be evil or play God in a sinister way, but they are absolutely trying to signal something huge. They are trying to tell the world that they have found the key to understanding reality in a way no one ever has before. By using a tree logo for a machine that can, in a sense, see all possible answers at once by exploring parallel universes, they are sending a very loud, very clear message. We have arrived at the source code of the universe. We have found the source of knowledge. So, when you see that Willow Tree logo, don't just think of a fast computer. Think of what it represents. It represents a potential turning point for our species, a moment where the line between what is possible and what is impossible begins to blur. It's not a religious monument, but the story Google is telling about it is designed to feel just as epic, just as well. And honestly, given what this technology can do, they might not be exaggerating. The age of quantum computing is here, and it's going to be a wild ride. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this dive into technology and symbolism interesting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. What do you think about Google Willow? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.